Hi everyone, this is Dr. Ernesto from AttaBoyCowBoy, and in today's video I'm filming here in Shasta Lake, California at my Aunt Pepe's house. This is her backyard. It's a beautiful forest with this cool creek through it. And I wanted to talk about death. Okay, I had this interesting experience today. I was at the hospital visiting my Aunt Pepe, and one of the other rooms someone died or passed away, or what we call in the hospital expired. And I saw the doctor comforting the family and talking to them, and I started thinking about my own experience with death, with family members, friends, and even with my own patients. And I thought back to when I was in school and I studied theology. So I'm a Catholic. I go to church, I listen to the priest, the father. He talks about the Bible and Jesus Christ and his teachings. But theology is the science behind religions, and it's awesome. They taught us about Buddhism, about Islam, about all the different world religions. And it helped me realize that we're all the same. We all believe in good things, and we all teach good things. God expresses himself in different ways to different people to connect with different people, because we're all different, right? So one shoe would not fit everyone. But in terms of death, I started thinking about, do we really die? And I asked myself that question when my brother passed away. I went through the whole process and he passed away. It left me in deep thought, because obviously I missed him and I was upset like anyone else would be. But I started thinking about what I studied in theology and what I studied in physics and astronomy and all this kind of stuff. And I kind of started putting it together. And I thought about Stephen Hawking, the physicist, where he talked about there's 4 dimensions, okay? Then I thought about Hinduism, where they talk about the multiverse. Basically, there's other dimensions, same kind of concept. And actually, most religions talk about multiverses, heaven, hell, whatever, different parts of the universe or dimensions, different points in time. So, how do you put all this together? Well, I tied it together to the first law of thermodynamics. The first law of thermodynamics says that energy is not created nor destroyed. It just keeps going, like this creek here. It just flows forever. Energy just keeps going. If I snap my fingers, those sound waves just go on for infinity, okay? So how would it make sense that a person dies? It's not really possible in terms of thermodynamics, right? Now, I know that when we die, there's cellular death, brain death, and physical decomposition. I've seen it. I've worked with cadavers in school, and I've seen the graveyards where there's bones and all this other stuff. So yes, we physically die, the energy is transferred. But spiritually or energetically, we don't die, we just transfer. And if you've ever worked in a hospital or you've been in a house that's haunted, you know what I've talked about. Now, I've had the opportunity to work in very many special places. And one of the places I worked at was a hospital called Barlow in Los Angeles. It's what they call the LTAC, and they have a lot of respiratory patients. And there's a lot of patients that passed away there, unfortunately. And there were certain rooms there that the call lights would go on, the TVs would go on. We'd go in there, there's nobody there. There's not even any patients in the room. So they'd call the maintenance people, they'd come in there, they'd rewire things, they'd sometimes switch out all the equipment, and it kept happening. After a while, we just had to accept, hey, this is part of life. There's spirits here, they live here. And I've had the same experience in multiple hospitals, okay? Now, you can choose to be scared, but there really isn't anything to be scared of, because we all have energy in us. And the energy that's around us is just people that we know, that are just transitioning. They're just moving through the cycle of life, just like we are. Depending on what your beliefs are, we either reincarnate, we transform into other form of energy, or we just go to a different dimension, okay? Generally, the idea is that we're kind of like a cloud of energy, and we have tentacles. And every time a tentacle goes down, it's a lifetime. It's kind of like the one I'm in right now. Life is like a snap of fingers. It just goes really quickly. In the scope of the universe and the billions of years or even trillions of years it's been around, right? Humans only live for 100 years or less. It's quick. So in terms of that limited amount of time that we have, want to make the best of it, right? We want to live according to your core principles. In my case, it's to learn and to serve others. And the idea is to build up what Hindus call your karma. It's like a bank account of good and bad. You do good, it goes up. You do bad, it goes down. I like that. The simplicity is perfect. It helps to be a guiding principle in my life. I want to be positive. I want to direct my energy to something that's going to be good so that I can reincarnate or go to a better dimension, etc. But in terms of this cloud of energy, we're going down and living lifetimes at different times in different places simultaneously. I'm here now. I'm living in another part of the world, probably at this time, or in other dimensions. And that's basically what they talk about in theology when they talk about multiverses. And possibly what Stephen Hawking was referring to when he talks about multiple universes. We don't know because we're still researching that. But Hinduism has been around for about 5,000 years. You know, way before Stephen Hawking or any of us have been around. So these are not new principles. And what helped me deal with my brother's death and other family members is to understand that we don't really die. We physically die, but spiritually we don't die. We just keep going like this river does for infinity. And understanding that helped me. And when I deal with patients and start dealing with death, I understand their sorrow, but it also helps me to explain to them, hey, your family member hasn't died, they transitioned. And practically every religion believes in a transition to something else. So if you look at it that way, it's not so sad because we're just kind of evolving and we're moving through the cycle. And it's going to happen to all of us, all of you, all of everyone I know, everyone. So understanding energy in terms of thermodynamics helps you understand that energy is not created nor destroyed. So no one can actually die. Death is not possible. So when someone in your life transitions, just understand that you'll be there also because you're an energy. You're just going to keep moving through the cycle and you'll keep flowing like this river. So again, live according to your core principles. And in my case, is to learn and to serve others. And in that case, it'll help my transition be easier. And in my mind, it helps me transition to something better in the next go around. So if you've had a death in your family or you've had someone die, just remember to help you deal with it emotionally, people don't actually die. There's no such thing as death. You know, you think of death and it just sounds like the end, it's over. And that's kind of sad because you're thinking, wow, I really like this person. I really love my brother. I don't want him to be dead and not exist anymore. But it really doesn't happen according to the first law of thermodynamics and pretty much every major religion that exists. It's just a transference of energy. And when you understand that and you think of it conceptually like that, it helps you deal better with death or loss in your family, your friends, or people you may live with. It's helped me when I see people pass away in hospitals. It helps me understand that, hey, this is part of life. It's part of the transition. They're advancing on and they're going to eventually reincarnate or, depending on your religious beliefs, start over again in some form or another. So remember, death is not exactly death. It's just physical death. Spiritual death, you continue on. So thank you for watching. And from Lake Shasta, California, it's Dr. Ernesto. Thank you and goodbye.